Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Clubhouse. We've got Luke Campbell on today. He's an Olympic gold medalist and soon to be in the not so distant future world champion as well. It's a pleasure to have you on today, Luke. How are you finding things under the current climate? Are you managing to keep yourself entertained in lockdown?
Yeah, I've got two young boys that are certainly keeping me on my toes, keeping me busy. You know, and I think it's as important for the boys to keep motivated and active as well. So we're all helping each other out.
Nice. And are you managing to do some homeschooling yourself, or have you left that to your other half? How is that working for you?
I won't lie, my other half is certainly doing 85% of the homeschooling, and I'm coming in as and when she needs me to help out. Year 5's maths and English is so hard.
I don't doubt that for a second. I mean, I struggled with it enough at school. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the stuff I learned at school, I've completely forgotten now. So I'd imagine going back is quite scary for the stuff they're learning.
Yeah, I look at that stuff thinking, why do you need to know that in life? Like, seriously, what is that about? How is that going to help you in anything in life? But I guess I've got to do it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'd imagine as a boxer as well, you're fairly used to kind of the isolation side of things, given you go away, you know, in the lead up to a fight with camp and stuff. Have you got the facilities to be able to train at home, and how are you dealing with that isolation side of things?
Yeah, funny enough, I only mentioned this the other day to somebody, like, this is just like a long training camp for me. Because being a boxer, you're sort of used to isolation, because when I go on training camps all the time. So for me, I'm away from everybody. All I'm doing is training, eating, sleeping, and then going home the weekends, but not really doing anything apart from being with my family because I've missed them all week. And then it's back to graft again.
Now,
so it's really not a lot of difference, you know, in that aspect of things. But I'm lucky enough to be able to have good facilities at home to be able to keep ticking over and training.
I'm really excited to see what lies ahead for you this year and going into next year as well. Obviously, we don't know the complexion of fighting for the remainder of the year. But just going back to the beginning with you and your upbringing with your three brothers, they're all all of you are in professions that requires a lot of discipline. Was your youth quite competitive, the three of you? Were you competitive as a three?
Well, it's like my older brother, he's like 8 or 9 years older than me. So he wasn't really around when I was in certain things. Like we couldn't compete with each other because by the time I got to old enough to start doing things, he was out with his friends doing whatever. Or I think he was in the army from the age of 16 years old. You know, so and I'd have only been 7 myself, something like that. So it's yeah, he's always been away. He's still away now in the forces, working away. So yeah, he's always been away. But I think I'll get a better relationship with him once he moves back to Hull, when he comes out of the army in a few years' time. So, but it's funny enough, me and my younger brother, obviously there's only a small age gap between us. So we're probably more competitive now with each other than we was as kids.
And you first stepped into the boxing ring, you were 13 in your home city of Hull, you just mentioned there. What was it about that kind of environment that really had you hooked straight away? Because often boxing gyms, I'd imagine, could be quite hostile places, almost a little bit intimidating for some people. What was it that had you hooked straight away?
Honestly, I don't know. When I just wanted to go boxing. I had nobody in my family that I knew of that was in the sport. I didn't know anybody else that was boxing. I didn't know any boxer at the time, like famous boxers or nothing. Just something inside of me that thought, oh, I want to do boxing. Boxing will be cool. And then I went to the gym, started going to the gym like 3 days a week with my brother. And within 2 months, we was carded and having our first bouts. And me and my brother both lost our first 2 fights, which wasn't the best start, but we'd only been in the gym 2 months. And then from there, my brother didn't get another fight for quite a while. And then he started going off and playing with his mates and not going to the gym on a night. He'd rather go play with his mates, you see. But I got another fight and I got that win. And that feeling of winning was very addictive. And yeah, I've never sort of looked back since. You could say there's a small story of one night. I said to my brother, I said, I'm not going to boxing tonight. Can't be bothered with it. And if he would have said, yeah, I'll give it a miss as well. If he would have said he would give it a miss that night, there's a good chance of me that I'd probably never box again. Because I only went to the gym that night because I let my younger brother go there on his own, and I felt sorry and sad that I'd let him go by himself. So 5 minutes after he'd gone out the door, I grabbed my bag and chased him down the street and caught up with him. But if he wouldn't have gone that night, then there's a good chance I may have never gone back to the boxing gym.
That's mad. It's mad to think of it that way.
It's mad to think that like one decision can take you down a different path, completely different path in life than what you would have gone on if you'd have just by making one decision.
So true. And was it a case of a coach in the sort of, even in your first couple of sessions that just looked at you and thought, he's got something?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, the coach at the gym when we first went to a gym wasn't really. It was there, but it wasn't there, in my opinion. He wasn't a good coach, and I shouldn't really say that because, they're giving their free time up to go to the gym because it's voluntary. But truth be told, he wasn't a good coach. So we had 1 season there, and then we moved gyms.
Nice.
But it was just something inside of me that just wanted to be better every time.
And it's quite a unique, characteristic to have, because a lot of people in the early days, if you lose your first couple of fights and, you maybe not got the drive that you suggested you had when you almost didn't go along to the gym that day with your friend, it's quite a unique thing to have inside of you. And you almost needed to get that first win out the way to realize that you had a real buzz for it.
Yeah. Well, I had a terrible record for my first 10 fights. I only won 3. I think I lost 2, then I won 2, and then I lost like 4 or 5 on a trot right through. And then I started winning after that.
Yeah, well, your amateur career after that is amazing. And obviously you went on to win gold at the London Olympics, which puts you in that pool of British boxers, where there's so much talent. We spoke to Josh Boazzi the other day as well, that was talking us through his bronze medal in Rio. What was that moment like for you picking up the gold medal in London? And, looking back at it now, was that just the most incredible time of your life? Oh,
it was unbelievable. It really was. It was a dream come true. Something that I'd worked for from being a young kid, and I worked so hard for it, dedicated myself, disciplined, sacrificed a hell of a lot, all for that. And it was certainly worth it. And, there was times leading up to the Olympics where, again, I could have finished boxing altogether, but I didn't want to give up until I knew I'd give it my best shot. And if I give it my best shot, I can live with myself.
And what sort of sacrifices did you make? You obviously said that your brother moved off onto a different path and left the boxing to one side. What were the sort of sacrifices you felt as though you had to make along the way? Just
sort of being a kid, growing up, and all my friends going out on a night time asking if I was going to go, and then I'm like, no, sorry guys, I'm going to the boxing gym tonight. Food, like all the way through school, I was on diets, making weight for the championships. Like I don't resent any of this. This is what you have to do. You know, to be victorious in life, you have to make certain sacrifices, and you know, it's just what it is. It's part and parcel. But yeah, also I remember one time I was like 17, 18 years old, and I've never been on a lads' holiday, even still to this day, because boxing always got in the way of it, and I was always too dedicated and disciplined to let any distractions come into me. And I booked a holiday with my friends, and it was all booked, paid for. Like back then, I think it was maybe like £300 or £400, but to me, that was a hell of a lot of money, and it took me ages to save up for that. But then I get an England letter to tell me I've been selected to go on an England training camp, and then there is a tournament that follows that England training camp like a week later. So I got this letter, and I'm sat there thinking, these dates are right on my holiday with my mates. So I'm looking at them thinking, damn. So I rang up, booked I was going to the England camp instead of my holiday. Lost my money on the holiday because they wouldn't give me a refund, and I couldn't get anybody. It was too short notice to get anybody to buy it off me, you know, to take my name off, put their name on, and give me a couple of £100. So I lost like £300-400 to go on to box for England instead. As we get a couple of days to go away to box for England, they cancel the tournament.
Oh.
So now I'm sat there, an 18-year-old kid with no money at all, lost £300-400. So I've lost a holiday, watching my mates having to go on holiday, listen to all the stories and everything else, and the training camp tournament cancels for England. So I lost out on both.
Where were you due to go?
Always my mind. I think there was like a tournament in Italy with a training camp, something like that, and that's where we were supposed to go there. And then I think I was going to, I don't know, Magaluf or Corfu or somewhere like that. I mean, I was 18 years old, so the details are fairly vague, but it was somewhere like that.
Well, when you retire, you can always get that group of lads back together and go to Magaluf, just relive your youth a bit.
I'm a bit past Magaluf now. I'd rather go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And immediately after the games, was there a moment after the London Olympics? Was there a moment you were like, "This is it now"? You know, I'm up there at the top. I'm with, you know, fighting with the big boys now, and you know, you're mixing. I don't know whether it was at a certain event or you had a chance encounter with another athlete, and you felt as though you'd kind of really hit the heights.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've never thought that ever. I've never thought that I've really hit the heights, and never thought that I'd done it or I've made it. Still to this day, I don't believe I've made it. Where a lot of people will turn around and say, "Of course you have, and you've done this, that, and you've achieved so much." But I've never looked at myself to think that I've made it and I've done it. You know, and all them events that I went to was a real eye opener. And you know, I'd see certain people there that hadn't achieved nothing in life, and they would think that they was the best. They think that they'd done it all, and really they'd not achieved anything. So yeah, it was certainly an eye opener. But there was some great events, and I met some awesome people from the Olympics, and going to events still that I'm friends with today. Met some fantastic people out there. But yeah, looking back on that now, it all really seems a little bit like a Blair dream, really. I sometimes go on YouTube and watch some of my Olympic fights on there, and I thought, wow, it just seems so long ago. But you know, I feel like I've grown so much from that now. and experienced a hell of a lot from the Olympics, from all the events and everything else. And there was time as well after the Olympics, for the first 9 to 10 months after the Olympics, it was really hard to. It wasn't easy to adjust to life and people knowing who I was and where I was and what I was doing, and stuff like that. It was quite difficult to adjust, because before the Olympics, it's just I was a quiet person that minded my own business and kept my own business to myself. And then after the Olympics, it was all over the place. There was no routine. There was no structure. I've been in training camps constantly for years and years, having structure. And then all of a sudden, there was no boxing. And then I was just all over the place, doing this, doing that. And yeah, it was quite difficult, but it was also fun at the same time.
Now, somebody that kept you grounded all along the way and had complete and total belief in your ability and had a monumental role in your upbringing as well was, of course, your dad. Just how important was he in helping you achieve your goals?
He was the one that always said I would be an Olympic champion from like a year into boxing, something like that. And then I just look at him and say, "Shut up, Dad." He always said I was going to be Olympic champion. Beijing came around, and I didn't get picked for the qualifiers, and then someone else qualified in my weight, so I couldn't go to that Olympics. And then I turned around to my dad and said, "Told you I'm not going to be Olympic champion." But he always believed I was going to be Olympic champion. Always believed I was. And then obviously, after Beijing, we got London Olympics, and full steam ahead to go for that, really. And then obviously I did it, didn't I? I did it.
You did. On home soil as well. What better? I mean, it almost was meant to be.
There isn't a better Olympics I could have ever got a medal at than London. Like, getting a medal at Olympics is amazing. Getting a medal at the Olympics in your own country is another level.
And gold as well. So
gold, don't forget that.
Don't forget that. And obviously, he sadly passed away in the run-up to your fight in the States. Can you remember that moment and how much mental resilience you had to show then in the lead up to the fight? And did it almost, put a bit of added pressure on you, the fact that you felt as though, probably understandably in the back of your mind, you were just desperate to do him proud at the same time?
Yeah, I can certainly remember the moment. That certainly doesn't go away from me. It was in the evening. I got a phone call off my brother in the evening, when I was in Miami training, and I thought it was odd, my brother ringing me, because I'm thinking it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that in the UK. I thought, why is he ringing me? And then obviously my brother told me, and then from then I just went for a long walk. But I think what upset me the most, my dad said he wouldn't be going anywhere until I'd won a world title. So that was really playing on my mind. That really upset me. But like, I used so much energy trying to block out, trying to stop thoughts from coming into my mind and just be sort of numb. I used so much energy trying to stop that, like, and not think about it, because every time I come to think about it, I was sort of having like little mini panic attacks and stuff like that. Remember, I was on my own as well. I didn't have any family with me. I was by myself in a different country, thousands of miles away. So, and obviously not seeing anybody or talking to anyone. But yeah, it was difficult. Should I have fought that night? Probably not. I was probably in a completely different frame of mind. I certainly, I probably shouldn't have gone in the ring at all, really. But hey ho, I did, and I actually thought I won the fight. I thought I won 7 clear rounds out of that fight. out of a 12-round fight. But to give it to him, the champion, it was in his back garden. So it's always harder for a guy to come over and beat the home fighter on his show.
Well, I would say, the fact that you even got out there that night in itself is, I would say, is one of your biggest achievements, in your career. Obviously, your dad was able to physically see you win gold in London, but I'm sure he will have been watching over you that night. Was immensely proud of the way you conducted yourself. And obviously, since then, you've gone on to achieve great things. One being the fight at Wembley, which I'm sure was an incredible occasion for you and something your family were really proud to watch you walk out at Wembley and fight and win as well.
Yeah, no, I've walked out a couple of times at Wembley. Yeah, they've both been good moments. But yeah, it's, when you work so hard to get myself to the top, and I'm still on that grind now. I'm still working hard. I'm still putting everything I can possibly do to try and be the best.
And do you get nervous in the lead up to fights? So taking those fights at Wembley into account, how do you deal with the nerves, and do you get nervous in the first place?
You got to have nerves because they keep you sharp, they keep you alert. But on the other hand, too much nerves can finish you. They can make you weak, can make you exhausted. So there's a fine balance of it, but it's what I do. I've been doing it for 20 years. So, but anyone that tells you they don't get nervous, they're lying. Anyone that says I don't get nervous, they're lying.
Absolutely. And
I thought about it. I just thought about it just then. I thought, shall I say I don't get nervous? But then I thought, what's the point?
There's no point. There's no point.
Because I would be lying.
Are you close to other people in the industry, other boxers? Do you seek advice from each other, the likes of AJ and I mentioned a moment ago Joshua Buatsi? Do you sort of stick close to those guys that are in and around you in the British sort of setup and seek advice from each other?
Yeah, some certainly, yeah. Joshua Buatsi, he sort of came onto the scene sort of after me. But I do know Joshua Buatsi, and he's a great person, lovely guy. Joshua, as a boxing friend, I would say I'm quite close to Joshua. I text him now and again, and he also texts me now and again. And we do honestly run through advice. He's asked advice off me before, and vice versa. And there is other people as well that I've made a hell of a lot of friends in boxing, and I'm still friends with today with. Obviously can't see him all the time because we all live in different parts of the country, but it's when we do see each other, you take off like where we left off, really.
And you're obviously still on this quest to become world champion, and you will become world champion. What lies ahead, do you think, for you for the remainder of this year, if we do get some boxing behind closed doors? How would you like the rest of 2020 to go?
I just want to be in good, exciting fights. I want people to know who I am and know how good I am, really. That's all what I care about. I want to be known as one of the best fighters, if not the best, especially in my weight category. That's it, really. That's it in a nutshell, really. I want to be known to be a great fighter, and at the end of the day, we're in the entertainment business, so I want to entertain my fans and give them good, exciting fights.
And could you see yourself fighting in Eddie Hearns' back garden at all, or at any point? I've seen the big plans to build a sort of arena almost in his back garden. Could you see yourself fighting there?
Yeah, of course. I'll fight anywhere. I've never been bothered for that, and it just proves for my first world title, I went over to America and fought. You know, I'll fight anywhere. If it's Eddie's back garden, I'll be more than happy to fight there. And yeah, it's for me. It's you can put a ring anywhere. It doesn't really matter where it is.
I feel like he'd put on a decent party afterwards as well.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I do. Even though like you're not really allowed, but I still think it possibly could happen.
Now, finally, I have to ask you about your beloved Hull. I'm obviously a Bristol City fan, so we're in the same division. I'm sure you'd probably quite like to see the season end at this point, given that you're just sat outside the relegation zone.
Yeah, well, I know Hull City certainly do. I think they want to see it end, but yeah, they've had a bit of a yo-yo this season, really, up and down a lot. But right now they're down.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they pick things back up. Look, it's been amazing to be able to speak to you. We cannot wait to see you as world champion. Hopefully that maybe is this year, next year, or 2022, but it'll happen for sure. And yeah, thank you very much for your time today, Luke.
Thank you very much.
Nice one. Thank you, Luke.
Cheers, thanks.
Speak soon. All the best.
Sure.
I hope you enjoyed my chat with Luke Campbell today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look out for more episodes coming soon.